hosting myself. How's the volume? That'll work. Alright. Sorry to start late. My video camera is not working. My webcam seems to be broken. It fell off my monitor a while ago. Stream offline. What? I'm still streaming. Exiting. Alright, I got you. Exiting dev intersection. Got it. Hey, Rick. Alright. It should be not this mic, right? Right. Okay. Let's see where we are. Alright, so today, I'm working on this DevBetter website, which maps to devbetter.com site, which hasn't really been updated in a while. And I want to change that, and I want to add some GitHub Actions to make it publish to Azure for me. So that is the plan for today. However, there's a few things happening. We've got a pull request out here that I want to merge that's doing email notifications and making sure that when new people register, they verify their email address, which is all good stuff. And I'm also in the midst of upgrading this thing to 3.1 from 2.2. So I figure some other people might be trying to do the same type of thing, with 2.2 now being out of support and 3.1 being where it's at. So we're going to work on that here for a couple hours. Alright, so far it's just me and you, Rick. Let's do this. Let's see, is there anything else I need to do? Oh, I can do that. Let's go here and there. Alright, now I should be online on Twitter. Cool. And good to go. Alright. I guess I could tweet something. Let's do that. Go over to Twitter. Streaming now on building, deploying, and ASP.NET Core add to Azure with GitHub Actions, Twitch TV, Record Dallas, and maybe that'll bring some more people. Boom. All right. So I've got some work in progress here. No. Where's Visual Studio? Here's Visual Studio. And like I said, my camera's busted for some reason. I was having trouble with it this morning. I can't get OBS Studio to see it. So you don't see me today, alas. It's not a big loss. Alright, so let's see if this thing runs. So I'm going to make this our startup project, if it isn't already, and run it. I'd been working on this previously on another machine, so I'm going to see how it does. I just pulled it down here with this current branch. Apparently I'm detached. I need to get back to a good spot. And is this going to blow up? No. Alright, so that's good. So nothing blows up. Alright, so let me figure out why that says I'm detached. It's here. I thought I was on this branch right here. Okay. Let's get down here and just say git checkout origin upgrade to 3.1. That's where I thought I was. Where did it say you were detached? In the bottom right of Visual Studio. Here, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? So that says I'm detached. I don't want to be detached. I want to be able to push changes. Alright, so let's go find Team Explorer. Let's see why you think I'm detached. I don't have any changes. Branch detached. So I don't even see the branch I want to be on here. It's weird. Unless I already merged, in which case, you know, this is a whole waste of time, but thought this branch was still its own separate thing. 3 days ago, getting things working. That's on this branch, okay. And if I go to master, I was trying to get this publish thing working and that broke. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a pull request. Let's get 3.1 working locally. Don't know why this is confused. I'm seeing, I want that one. Alright, there. Checking out, okay. I thought I did that already from VS Code. It's weird. And I have not used this GitHub extension before, so. Alright, so now we really are on upgrade to 3.1 branch. That's where I want to be. Let's close this down. Let's run it again. It starts right up. Everything looks happy. This does not blow up. Interesting that the login link doesn't seem to work. There we go, there's an error. Endpoint contains metadata. We don't have any authorization stuff. Interesting. That's going to be a problem. Let's see if we can fix that. So we're not quite done with the upgrade to 3.1. This seems to be. We're going to start by adding use auth inside of configure. All right. So I've already got use authorization somewhere. Okay, that's identity setup. And then configure. I've got use authentication. And you're saying, no, you need use authorization. Okay. So which is it? And did that change at some point? Let's Google for that. As of June of last year, they said place use auth before use auth. Should this read middleware after that? Noting. Alright, that doesn't sound useful. Calls to these things. So I looked at this when I was doing the upgrade. So use authorization was added to the templates to show the order. Right. Okay. If the app uses features like authorize page, place call to use authentication and use authorization. Alright. But before use endpoints. So these go before use endpoints. And I need just the other one. I think is all it's going to take. So let's rebuild that. Rerun. And the videos was the one that was protected by auth. And now it gets the login page, which it doesn't like. So why is login broken? Register works. Area equals identity. That's not what that should look like as far as that link goes. Probably wants to look like that. Or maybe even just that. Login is not working. That's weird. Works in production. I don't have to configure anything for login to work. Neo Ashi. Hey, you're welcome. Welcome to the stream. I think the link said account. Yeah, what did I say? Identity account. Alright. Oh, thanks. What, account like login, you think? Can't find that either. Alright, so this is 404, 404, 404. It finds registered just fine though. So, not under account. No, you can't find anything. Alright, what is this link? Identity account. Okay, it needs all three because it's in the identity area. Identity account login. No. You guys can't see me throwing my hands up in the air because there's no camera. Simon Jeering, how's it going? Alright. What did I do to break login? I didn't do anything with that. Identity, well, we did change this. There used to be some more identity stuff in there. Let's see. Wanadza, welcome. Alright, where's Visual Studio? Let's go look at this identity hosting startup. I have not messed with this at all yet. It used to have, it's not true, I had changed one thing. It used to have this line that said use identity UI, and I moved that because something said I needed to. It wasn't working here anymore. I moved it here to say identity UI framework version is Bootstrap 4, but that shouldn't have broken any of my links. Nuashi, is there any way to update .NET Core runtime and SDK on servers when updates roll out like Windows Update? I don't know. That's more of an admin question. I could probably get a version 8 for my language though, couldn't I? Yeah, so I don't know. Personally, my recommendation would be to use either a container, in which case you absolutely can easily just change what container you're using to use whatever runtime and SDK you want, or use something like a web app on Azure, in which case you don't have to worry about it. It's not a server that you manage. So that's how I get around that issue. But keep the global JSON with the previous version. Well, yeah, you could certainly do that. Just don't change the global JSON and it should still work. Yeah. All right. Let me see what happens if I actually add. Where's the scaffolding? I want to scaffold a new item. Alright, I have to say add. Alright, there we go. Identity, add new scaffolded item. Let's add login here and see if that does it. I don't want to actually have a separate login view. I'm fine for it to be the generated one. I'm just trying to figure out why the route's not finding it. And if I actually have a thing, maybe I can see it. Or maybe they renamed it. Nope, there's login right there. So, do login, tell it to use the identity thing. That's fine, add. Your app settings development JSON has a yellow triangle on it. It's because it's not there. I'm not using it. Anyway, let's build. That's all good. Let's run. Let's see if we can figure out why. Let's kill that. Kill that. Why are we getting 404s to log in now? Register works fine. Login works fine now. Alright. Interesting. So when I scaffold the thing, it works. Azure Web App definitely gets minor fix patching. I must just patch my app to work with the new Chrome 80 security changes. Everything just works without us having to do anything. Yeah, my webcam, DevMan, appears to be broken. Yep. I don't know why. I try adding it, it's just black. So it's actually there on the screen. Here, look. There's my webcam right there. If I switch to webcam only, that's what it shows. So So I don't know why. It's broken. It fell off my monitor a few weeks ago, and now it's not happy. It was working this morning, but it's just, it needs, I think it needs replaced. Alright, so then the question that we're trying to solve here, which is not at all the thing I really want to be doing, is why did adding this login page here make any difference for this thing working? Because this should have worked before. If I delete this thing and then close my run and build it again, it should still work. Yep, register should work and login should work, and login doesn't work. So what changed with that? Anybody know? I should not need to. Huh. And is that an upgrade thing? Because it totally worked before. Let's do a quick switch to master, because I haven't merged this in yet. Let's just jump to master and prove to myself. Yeah, I don't need to keep any of it. Well, no. Force checkout. Moves all the things. I gotta remember to do that authorization thing again. Right, so now we're on master. Let's rebuild. This is still running 2.2. And when I run this, now, everything runs, and lo and behold, login works. Register works. Okay, but when I switch us back over, close this down. Are you just unlucky, or is it a brand of webcam I should avoid? No, I'm just unlucky it fell. It was gravity. Gravity is a problem for all webcams, I think, with sufficient height. Because my monitors are up on monitor arms, because I have a standing desk. So the height that it fell was not insignificant. But yeah, if you get like a webcam that's, you know, shock resistant and you can drop it from 2 stories up, then yeah, that'd probably be better. Okay, so now we're on 3.1, and we're using identity UI 3.1 and identity, you know, 3.1.1 for all these things, right? And so we're going to rebuild. We'll go back to startup and make sure we add back in our authorization. That one. Okay. And run it. Okay, now login doesn't work. 404s. It says here route matched index home area blank. Yeah. Why? Area's identity. Page is account login. Okay, that should totally work. And none of that's changed, right? That's the same as it was in 2.2. So off to the Google and ASP.NET for identity login breaks 3.1. Breaking changes. Blah blah blah. Login not working. The sound seems off. The keyboards are loud. No, I'm using this Rode Podcaster mic. It picks up a lot. So, sorry. I'll try and type quietly. Sound seems off again. Keyboard clicks. No. It's definitely the right mic. I could turn down the sensitivity, but that'll just turn down my voice as well. So, doing my best with my gear here. I'm thinking the Rode Podcaster might not be the best streaming mic. Okay. Just because it does pick up the keyboard sound. And I even bought this keyboard because I wanted it to be quieter when I was doing Pluralsight recording and stuff. I don't want it to be super loud. But, it does still pick up everything. And I type relatively fast and loudly. Sorry. Alright, I don't see anything here that's helpful. So you know what? We're just going to add... Does log out work? after we log in? I guess we'll scaffold the thing. I feel like I shouldn't have to do that. Why is this changing? Alright, let's add a new scaffolded item for identity. This should not be broken, but it is. So we're going to add login, log out also, and use our DB context and add, just so that the stupid thing works. And then maybe I'll add an issue to say, hey, take that out. So is this roll your own identity or identity server? This is just built-in ASP.NET Core identity. It's using dependency, I don't know why those are yellow, on this guy right there, Microsoft ASP.NET Core Identity UI. And so it dumps it into this area with its own, identity hosting startup that you have to configure. So I've got it configured here to do its thing. And this all theoretically works. Not sure, I don't know that I've run this on this machine before, so I might need to do some scaffolding of the data layer here, but in production this works, and in production on 2.2 it even finds the login page. But for whatever reason, now that I just upgraded to 3.1, it's not happy. So, and it's not just all of them, right? I mean, it found the register page just fine, this one. So as soon as I scaffold them in here, they work. Cookie cutter version of roll your own. Yeah, I mean, it's the Microsoft stuff. I'm not writing any of this. I'm just pulling it in from their NuGet package. All right, so let's try now run it, and let's see if this works. All right, so we can register. Yes, we can log in. Yes, and if we log in, this account probably, it does exist. Can we log out? Yes. Look at that, all the things work. Can we hit the videos page? No. Why is it a 404? Because it tried to redirect to /account login and failed. Because it's probably /identity /account login. And that works fine. Alright, so what is up with that? All my identity stuff seems to be busted here with this upgrade. It's not making me happy. Where's the route for that? It should just work. None of this matters. This is all, it's already in here at this point. So in here, when I say to use those, then configure services, somewhere I have to add identity DB context, but it's login redirection web config. I'm not using web config. This is all running right out of Kestrel. Web config is only used by IIS. We can look at it, but it's not being used here. At least it shouldn't be. So none of this has any redirection stuff. And this identity route for this area, like how does my page for videos here index, right? This thing is secured, which I think I'm doing in startup, and I'm saying authorize this folder, right? That's how you configure that with Razor pages. I try to reproduce Supermarket, create a new project, scaffold it, test, everything works, test, yeah, I agree with you. I think my updating is causing this problem. So let's do that. Let's do a comparison. Let's create a brand new web app, create a new project, ASP.NET Core. Alright, so let's do this. Web app 6, sounds great. Create, find me a template. Let's make this a web application with individual user accounts, like that, right? And we'll say create. And let's compare and contrast. Alright, so over here, get rid of this start page stuff. we've got the same area with identity, with pages, nothing much else here. And then we got startup. And do we do anything in here with no. So program CS is nothing. So in startup, we come in here and we say configure this and then add that default identity to services, and then use authentication and authorization down after routing. And if we run this guy, it looks so simple. We can register, we can log in. So that looks great. So now we look at mine. Let's just leave this full screen. Look at mine, it's not quite so simple, but I'm trying to use this identity hosting startup. And this says hosting startup type of this. Alright. Get rid of some using statements. Get rid of this logger that's not being used. Here. Be nice if I could log. I could at least step through and verify we're hitting this. But we're going to add identity here. We specify this DB context, which we configured up there. Token providers. Okay, I just added this as part of the upgrade because I'm using roles and the default template isn't. And so the only thing is, when does this get called? I suppose we could put a breakpoint on here and then F5 into it. It doesn't really matter whether it's called before or after startup as long as we know it gets hit, right? And look at that, it got hit. So, cool. Apparently, login is using C#8 stuff, which is fine. But there, we're good. We can hit login, but we can't use the redirect off the authorize. Okay. Simon Jeering is sympathizing. He's trying to upgrade to 3.1 and Angular 8. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to start with a new template and then just move stuff over on top of that. Because I've got so much cruft from having upgraded this previously. Alright. Use routing, use auth, authentication, authorization. Your app settings, not much there. Let's compare that to my app settings. Looks pretty much the same. Alright. Authentication, authorization, use endpoints. I was running into another issue here. I left this in. That'll bite me if I forget about taking that out. Currently, when you run this thing, from Visual Studio, it passes in this stupid environment name in here if you're not in development. So if we switch to a non-development version, it'll give us a different name. Let me see if I can verify that. I need to clean that up too. So here, sorry the keyboard's loud. Where am I at? That. Now this should let me pass in environment name on the command line as an argument. I don't think that's quite right, but maybe it is. Yeah, usually you show me the I'm not sure what it did here. It thinks it's running on 7634. But no. You don't do anything. Oh, there it is. Alright, so it is running. Alright, so it didn't do what I thought it was doing. Okay. Anyway, there was an issue that I ran into where the arguments that are passed from Visual Studio into Kestrel, into Program CS, were not being passed correctly. They're being passed as like this placeholder. And so the placeholder would be, when you would do this check, it wouldn't be development, it would be % vs placeholder args or whatever, and you'd end up here, right? And so you wouldn't get to ever use your developer exception page. And so I'm not seeing that now, which is good. Get rid of that. I don't think I need all this clutter. Clean that up a little bit. Okay, containers working. Configure cookie policy. That's fine. Alright, this just checks to see if I've already got a database hooked up, which happens up here. That's pretty much everything. So let's look at our project references and compare those with the new template, because that could be the issue. Right, you can do the environment thing in the launch task, Simon Gearing says, in VS Code. Any differences in your controllers from upgrading? Not really. I don't even think I have any controllers to speak of in here. Mostly it's pages, because it's just serving up content on this site. It's not a super complex site yet, although I've got a backlog of functionality to add to it. Alright, so we've got 3 ASP.NET cores, right? There, like that. Microsoft ASP.NET Core. They're all 3.1.1. Diagnostics, identity, diagnostics, identity. So those are all the same. SQL Server and tools. Those are all the same. So it's basically just these. So those are the only references that the template wants. Now I'm adding a bunch of other junk. Would any of this other junk break stuff? And do I still need it all? Because my project file is a lot more than 17 lines long. Do I need this? Do I need this? Let's see. I don't think I need that. That looks dumb. Let's get rid of that. Probably don't need this. That looks like something from when I publish. I don't know what else I need there. So let's see, everything still builds. Run it. Everything still runs. Direct login link works to /identity/account /login, but this authorization thing does not work for Razor pages. And what about for Swagger? Can I go to Swagger? Yeah, so not a whole lot going on here, but it does work. Okay. Did they upgrade anything on how to do authorization of Razor pages? Because I thought they might have added an attribute to that finally. And I haven't kept up on that. So authorization in Razor pages, when is this written? 2018. It's probably going to show the same thing I do, which is to authorize in here, Razor pages options, authorize folder. That's what I'm doing already. So in here, in startup, there's my Razor page options, conventions, authorize folder, whatever. And that used to work in 2.2. Options, conventions, authorize folder. Right, so this is the old way of doing it. Is there a newer way? From August of 2019. Okay. So yeah, you can do that. Note, authorized filter can now be applied. So you can do that. Really? That's all you're going to say? You're just going to say this. Alright, well, let's try it. Hang on. The authorized filter can be applied to a page model class. That's that. Alright, that's to apply a policy. I don't want to apply a policy. I just want to tell it needs authorization. And I want it to apply to everything in here, so I don't necessarily want to have to go to each one of these and add an authorized filter, but I did. I did already. Authorize by adding the attribute. Yeah, the autofact stuff was annoying too. I agree with you, Simon Jerry. By adding the attribute. Yeah, see, I'm using roles, and I've got the authorized attribute. Now, if you're not an admin, you can view. Administrators and members can both view. Only administrators can edit, though. So maybe it's getting confused because I'm specifying it twice. If I pull this out of here and just use the attribute, maybe that will be happier. Let's find out. And this all works in 2.2, that's what I'm going to keep saying. So that's fine, and that's fine, and that's still no dose. Alright, so why is it trying to go there when it should know that it needs to go to the identity area? Alright, it needs to go there. So let's see. Razor pages auth redirects to count plugin, not identity count plugin. Redirect to ISP cover. When you call services to add identity, does this stuff. And when you say add identity, you can specify all this stuff. So is there a spot where I can specify what the redirect is here? So maybe it's this. Maybe I can configure the application cookie to go to the right place. I shouldn't have to mess with this, I wouldn't think. Does it make sense to put that here? There's identity. What else can I add here? Still has default UI as an option. No. Rick's got a possibly helpful thing here. I'm redirected, it should be login, but instead I get this other thing. I've configured this, and this, and this. If you check use identity extension method, you'll notice it's using identity options, not cookies, so you must configure identity options. But in 2.0, they're no longer a thing. With 2.0, now it's changed to this, configure application cookie, to that. Yeah. As of 2.1, identity is scaffolded from the SDK. Pull off, combine with advanced scaffolded identity. Yeah, I'm using scaffolded identity. Right. Yeah, okay. Dun. Doing all that, yep. So I wonder if I need areas. And then I need this. Those look important. So maybe this is what I need right here. Options.allow areas. I think I might need that. Alright, let's pull this over to my other monitor so I can see it. And let's go. I want to keep all the identity stuff in here if I can. This is all services related. In fact, I may as well put the Razor Pages stuff in here too, shouldn't I? Just all the auth related stuff. So, but I can't do that here because I'm inside of the add MVC thing. So, alright, so let's control KU to pull this back in. I'm not sure I need that, but just in case I add something else to that folder, I want to make sure it's still authorized. Options.allow areas equals true. To do that, authorize area folder. This is not an area folder, and I don't want it to authorize that either. So, yeah, I don't need that. Alright, so then the services login path stuff, that I think I want to have in here. Like this. So configure application cookie to use those routes. Let's see what that does. Grimsky fall. It could be nasty if that is coming from the package rather than custom code in the app. That's the case that it may be an incompatibility between two packages. What about conventions.authorize page? Well, I'm trying to authorize the whole folder. Like these two folders, admin and authorized videos, are the two folders I want to do, and they both have these authorized attributes on them now. So I shouldn't even need. Yeah, everything's got attributes now, so I shouldn't even need the stuff that's in startup. Close some things. That doesn't even work. It came right out of your docs. Look, it's literally right here. Add Razor Pages options 2.1. Add Razor Pages options. Do I need that compatibility? I must need that, maybe? Yeah, look at that, now it works. What if but I don't really want it to be 2.1, I want it to be 3. Something. This is obsolete, use 3.0 later. Alright. But now you're going to tell me this thing doesn't exist. Yeah? It's not a thing anymore. Okay. Docs are not keeping up. I'm not sure I needed it anyway. In fact, I'm not sure I needed any of this. Anyway, let's just get rid of all that. Let's go here. This is what we think is doing it right there. So let's see if that did the trick. Bam. Login works. Register works. Redirect works. Alright. And if I log in, it takes me where it's supposed to. Look at that. That's beautiful. Alright, now I do not know why I had to scaffold the login page for this to work. Part of me wants to delete that again. Just, yeah, you know what, let's do it. Delete that again. I can rescaffold it real quick. Let's close this. Maybe this thing is what I needed. Who knows? Alright, let's try it one more time. Bam. Log in. No. Alright, fine. Back to scaffolding it. Add item, identity. If I were smarter, I probably should have just checked it in and rolled back, but this is so fast. Close, 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 and run. And we can log in again. We Get videos. I go to the login. I see everything. Alright, so let's pull up our Git client, which we're going to use this for. I'm going to say fixed issues with identity, login, redirects, and paths. And we'll look at all that. That looks fine. I don't really need this stupid readme. Do I? This thing changed. But yeah, regardless, I don't need it. So we're going to delete this thing. From source. Okay. Deleted. Alright. Commit that, push that, and finally we're making some progress. You have the wrong docs version on top of that page. I'm sure I did. Hi Steve, a couple general questions about API patterns used to configure services. Either configure to a pattern seems to be app.use something or fluent chaining. This link shows both. So the library author, I'm wondering when I should offer fluent chaining over version 1 or vice versa. Also, when should config info go in configure services as opposed to configure? So that's a better question to start with, Tony. Let me finish what I'm doing here for a second, and then I'll answer that, so I can show you the code. All right, so I think we just pushed this up. So let's hop out to GitHub, and let's do a pull request and get this thing in there. So I want to see if my workflows work. So do that to that. That's great. Create the pull request, and let the thing chew on it. Detail, that failed awfully quick. How does it even know yet? 2.2 SDK. So I gotta install the right version of .NET before that's gonna work. That's a GitHub action thing. Alright. So yeah, Simon Jering's jumping in with the answer for you. If we look at this template we just created, because it'll be a lot simpler, and we just look at its startup, right? You're going to see there's two main methods here, not counting the constructor, right? And the first one is configure services, and it is used to add services to the container. Container is a overloaded term these days because we have Docker containers and things. This is talking about the collection of services or types that your application is going to use. It's the service collection that will be used to create this container. It's an IOC container or a DI container is the type of container it's talking about. Configure is used to configure the request pipeline. So the request pipeline is kind of like if you did old school ASP.NET, like web forms. You had this notion of a page lifecycle where it would go through a series of steps like init, and then preload, and then load, and then pre-render, and then render, and all that. So all those steps in ASP.NET Core, as well as in something called Katana, which you could run on ASP.NET, you get to configure all that. So when I say use developer exception page, that's middleware that is going to run some code and then call the next thing in the list, which would be this. And then this will call the next thing in the list. Now, because of this if statement, we're going to skip all this stuff. So the next thing it calls is this. The next thing it calls is this. Now, these are all using a convention to say use, just because that's what the ASP.NET Core team opted for. But each one of these essentially adds or wraps another piece of middleware into the chain. And if you do a quick Google search for the docs, there's some good images. So ASP.NET Core middleware docs, which I think I wrote the original version of. Yeah, there's my name still on it. So here's this diagram that I came up with back in the day to show what this looks like. Your request comes in, it hits the first piece of middleware, it calls next, which goes into the next piece of middleware, which goes into the next piece of middleware. Eventually, one of them does not call next. Right? That's called terminating middleware. And then they just flow back out the chain. Okay. So what does that mean in terms of your startup page? Well, it means anything that's middleware goes in here, right? Nothing related to adding services or configuring how the app works should go here, right? If you want to configure how your third-party library stuff works, if it's not middleware, it doesn't go in here, right? It has to go up here in configure services. Now in configure services, this is a common pattern. I think this is what you're asking, is do I want to give them a bunch of different things to say in here with a bunch of like options? When I say services dot add my cool feature, do I have it just an open paren and pass in all the things? Or do I pass in an options lambda and then it has like a builder type pattern or whatever here where I can say use this, use that, use the other. And this tends to be how Microsoft does it, right? You can see here, obviously it's doing it, and then here as well, it's doing the same thing. And so I would recommend following that approach. That's pretty standard and it's incredibly flexible. If I don't have anything I want to override, I can just pass in like, nothing or an empty lambda that just does a no op. But otherwise I can pass in whatever I want, and I don't have to have 50 different overloads of this method with every possible different combination of configuration settings. Line 33 to 34. Yeah. Right. Yep. So this one uses the options and then also uses the chaining. Is that what you're pointing at? As to the other two parts of the question, interesting point of discussion, I would like to hear Adele's thoughts. Well, I kind of just gave them. So is there a question of what goes into options and what goes into chaining, perhaps? Because that's another piece of it, right? Like, why is this add identity framework stores a different thing? Why wasn't that just options dot add identity frameworks, right? And I think the reason for that is probably that this, if we went and looked at it, we go to right, we can go Google for this. My sense is that configuration is literally setting configuration values, right? Like that is specifying how to do configuration, and this is, specifying configuration. And even that's not always true, because use SQL Server is actually going to pull in additional libraries. So the point I was going to make is that if you're pulling in additional libraries, if you're adding more things to the services collection, then I would say to use the .add. And basically the rule would be anytime you are adding things to services, you should have a chain that adds those things, right, using the add keyword. I don't think this follows that advice, though. I think use SQL Server does add things to the service collection, but it doesn't say add SQL Server, right? It says use SQL Server, and it's inside of options. So I think there's some nuance there. I don't think it's standard, or even within Microsoft stuff, I don't think it's standard. So whatever seems to make sense for you, I would do. So if I don't know if your thing's open source, but if you wanted to say, hey, here's my open source project, how would you configure it, or show a couple different options, we could certainly talk about that. All right, let's go back to my pull request, and let's see if we can figure out why that didn't build. Did it build on Azure DevOps? All checks failed. It failed there too. Details. And the branch is out of date. What? Oh. SDK 2.2. Alright, so I've got to figure out how to install the latest .NET. So let's, I don't want to mess with Azure DevOps. I want to do it with GitHub Actions. I put that in the stream description, so people are looking for that. So let's do GitHub Actions, ASP.NET Core 3.1. Setup.NET. That's what I need. So, view it on the marketplace, use the latest version, copy that line, come back here, come to my code, go to my workflows, go to .NET Core, click the edit button, and this should be 3.1.101, and try and commit this, and see if it lets me. I ran into issues trying to commit this locally, and then deploy it, and it wouldn't let me do it because of my OAuth token, and I had a whole Twitter conversation with GitHub people. Tony says, good to hear your thoughts, the repo's not public yet. Yeah, I understand. So you could also create just like a gist on GitHub or wherever you want that kind of shows how you would configure, or a couple different ways you might configure something without revealing what your actual project is, and see what people's thoughts are, right? And you could blog about that, tweet about that, throw it up in here. We've got 20 .NET developers watching right now. See what they think. All right, so I changed this right here. That should be all I need. Right, it's already in a setup.NET action. So let's go back to my pull request and see if we can kick that off. What do I need to do that? So update the brand. Oh, that should do it. Yeah. Now we're going to do the things. It's queued. Alright, well it didn't fail as fast as it did last time, so that's a good sign. Successfully installed 3.1.1.1. Doing a restore. Watching people streaming DevOps. It's going to be the most exciting thing you can watch. Alright, so that worked. With 10 warnings. And it's just those await things. I know what I need to do for those. Alright, so 3.1 is working. Does it actually run its tests? I should make sure it runs tests. Workflows, .NET Core, .NET Build. I need to be .NET Test. Well, let's just run the test locally for now, make sure. So I don't need this anymore. And where's mine? There's mine. And it has tests. Few tests. Just run these tests. Run tests. Okay. 4 tests, they all passed. Be nice if it opened up the Test Explorer when you do that, but it doesn't. You have to do that yourself. All right, but they passed. Let me just verify how to do GitHub Action run tests.NET Core. That's nothing different than just telling it .NET Test, right? Show me. That's what I've got, yeah. Show me how to run the test. Set that up, check out .NET Test, there you are. Alright, so that's really all I want, okay. So let's edit this again. I'd like to run the tests. And he's doing a build and then a test, which is kind of redundant because when you do a test, it's going to build. So you know what? I'm going to do this build and test with .NET. Right? Because otherwise they're identical. Yeah, that looks fine. Commit that thing. And let's see if that breaks the world. Back to my pull requests. Here. Tell it to update, because it's going to need to update because I changed something in master. And we'll run that build again. So I read this article the other day, and it says that this doesn't work when .NET Core is set up .NET. Yeah, alright, that should be fine. Alright, so let's watch this thing build one more time. Let's publish task. This shouldn't do anything. Until I pull it into master. And even then, I'm not sure I've got that workflow working. So maybe before I merge, I should verify that that's working. it is doing a Azure Web App deploy down here. So that's what I want to get working today, is get this thing actually deploying to production. Looking at that page, it's high time GitHub sorted their gubbins out. Gubbins? And got a dark theme. What the heck is a gubbin? Publish. Run .NET Publish. Alright. Is it actually going to try and do this? It is. Why is it trying to do that in my PR? That seems strange. Publish happens on push. Probably should only happen on push to master though, right? Because now it's going to try and deploy my app. I think that's not what I want. Page deploying using zip. Alright. Well, this is continuous delivery for you. Even though I haven't merged it. Run GitHub workflow on merge to master. Events that trigger workflows. But only for master. That's what I want. Master. Trigger the workflow on push or pull request, but only for master. That's what I want. Push to master or pull request branches for master. Alright. I think I need that. I need that because this thing is actually deploying. Successfully deployed. Okay. That's scary, but presumably this just got deployed. I need to put some version stamp on here somewhere. There's a good candidate right there. Let's make it current year. So in here, in this page layout, where's my layout? Shared layout. Assuming this is being used. There it is, layout, views, shared. There it is. That. Copyright whenever the time is. Right, let's do that. And let's add current year to copyright. Check that. Push that. Push. Oh, fine. Sync. Wanatza. Thumbs up. Ship it, apparently. Yeah, exactly. So that should have just triggered another build. We'll see if that actually is pushing everything out. I think it is. So I need to change to use this. My GitHub Actions are a little too overeager, but fortunately I don't do any pull requests that have bugs in them, so it's okay. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Come over here. Go to my pull request. And it should be doing another build. It is, because I just did that. And details. Publish. Alright, let's go fix publish. So come here. Go to workflows. Publish is a separate workflow, which currently happens on push and does all the same stuff. It does a build and it doesn't do a test. Oops. There we go. I need to edit. Edit. It says build and test, but it only builds. So that does the test. Alright, so on, where's my syntax here? That over on this side, put this on this side, and let's look at this. On push, really only for branches. Where does that go with the indenting? I guess there. Master. Why is it not like that? Add indentation. This one has on all by itself and then push indented. Did you mean that? No, I don't know. After push colon, on push. Oh, there's a colon there, isn't there? But when it's in square braces, there's never a colon with it. Well, let's try it. Doesn't like that either. Incomplete explicit mapping pair because of the indenting. No. Well, let's get rid of the braces. Do this. Push colon, branches colon, master. Alright, that matches this truly, and it seems to work. Alright, push and pull request branches master. Trigger the workflow on push or pull request. Now, is this a pull request being merged in or being created? You can provide a single event string, an array of events, an array of event types. I think this is all I need. I think I just need to say on push to master. So I think a merge to master will count as a push to master. We'll see that. So let's commit this. Publish on push to master. Commit. Now in the meantime, that thing was probably deploying. So if we refresh this thing, hopefully it works. And nothing there. Alright, well. Something broke. Thinks that worked. This thing keeps failing, but I'm not worried about that. Let's update the branch. But now look, publish didn't show up, so that worked. And since it's already pushing to production, you know, we may as well just squash and merge to master. And now we can delete the branch. And on local, we'll switch over to master and pull everything down. Now the question is, can we pull in the email stuff that I'm trying to work on? How much time have we got? We still got almost an hour. Alright. So let's go back to this. I feel like I want to get rid of Azure DevOps and just use GitHub Actions. I don't think they're really doing much for me at this point. So let's go mess with this Azure pipeline thing. Azure pipeline YAML. Let's edit this. Well, let me rename the file. Yeah. Azure pipelines dot old YAML. Edit that. And rename Azure pipelines to disable. I think that'll work. Let's quit that. Okay, so theoretically, I'm thinking Azure DevOps won't see that. Alright, let's come over here. Now, this thing is going to be a mess because it is all conflicted, and it was also adding these things for whatever reason. Let's try and resolve these in the browser if it'll let us. Nice, alright. So it has a bunch of stuff that I don't need that anymore. I don't need 2.2. Autofac, I've got 5. But I do need SendGrid. So these can all go away. Okay. So that's one thing merged. Let's mark that as resolved. Alright, now your login page, I'm just using a default. And you're adding what? Looks like we commented out this. Okay. I guess we don't want to send people their password. That's fine. But then, at least those triggers work with GitHub as your source code repo and Azure DevOps multi-stage pipeline with Azure DevOps Git as a system. Triggers and branch don't work from YAML. Yes, I know. That's part of why I'm tired of Azure DevOps, because I'm so spoiled by GitHub. You can't even tell Azure DevOps to just build on a pull request. It's really annoying. So as annoying as it might be feeling with GitHub Action, at least you'll have the opportunity to use it. Yes. And between you and me, I think GitHub is like the way of the future. So the other thing I really like about GitHub, which you'll know if you've watched me stream before, is that I can just log into GitHub and login always works. Whereas with Azure DevOps, it's like, well, do you want to use your AD account or your other account or your personal account or your school account or your church account or your club account? Or I'm like, just tell me if my login works. GitHub doesn't ask me which account, it just logs me in. Alright, so he has nothing here, and I have this use another service stuff, which we're not using, so that can all go away. That's all that. Alright, so that's that one merged. Let's resolve it. Alright, my goal here is to get this thing merged in. Yeah, merging PR merge conflicts in the browser is nicer than trying to pull it in locally, I think, and mess with it. Usually. Anyway, my goal is to get this merged and then test it out, and what this email notification thing is supposed to be doing is hooking up SendGrid to send emails. So because it's hosted on Azure, we want to use a service to do the emailing, and this should just work. You know, he's this contributor's already done the work, Joe. It's just been waiting on me to hook up a SendGrid account and put the credentials in Azure. And then silly me, I decided, oh, well, before I do that, why don't I upgrade to 3.1 and break everything? Which I did. So now we're trying to reconcile that. Alright, so his has nothing on the back, and mine has other stuff. So here's his stuff here. It's going to say, go get their info, check to see if their email is confirmed. I'll bet this is probably wrong, but that needs to be identity account, but we'll fix that later. So that's identity account. So why would that be / account, not / identity account? I don't know. We'll look for it. Otherwise it was, so I don't think we want mine on master. I think we want just Joe's on his branch. Okay, let's see. I don't think it's going to hurt anything for me to have extra using statements, usually, as long as it's a thing that exists. So we'll just keep those and clean them up later. I see. That one is in there twice. A bunch of them are in there twice. So I see that one and that. No, see that one is definitely in there twice. MVC and Razor pages in there twice. Logging's not. It'd be nice if we sorted these, wouldn't it? Authorization, authentication. Logging is in there twice. Logging. Alright, let's do that. Okay. Now he's injecting this stuff. Logging to DevOps scares me. Once I'm logged in, all my SC are gone. Turns out they manage the account really different. What do you mean your SC? Source control? Wanadza? Alright, so we used to say, give me a user manager, assignment manager, and a logger, and now we also have this email sender, which is fine. Alright, so keep that. Add the email sender. Get rid of all this. That looks right. Okay. Previous. Next. Mark as resolved. Alright, CS proj file. Similar changes. Alright, autofac. I've got down below. Autofac extensions. Do I have those? Yeah, down below. Don't need that anymore. 2.2 I don't need. Cogen design and utils. Cogen design I've got. SendGrid we need to keep. Cogen utils. Do I see that anywhere else? Do I need that? I guess I'll keep it. It's the wrong version though. Azure Containers Tools. I don't know if I need that either. I'll get rid of that and that. Eventually I'm going to have to pull this in. Source code projects, alright. Simplistic example of a service that needs to be configured with an SDK. Okay. We'll look at that in a minute. Previous, next, resolved. Startup. He's adding identity. I don't know if I need that anymore. Infrastructure services, I will need that. Let's just keep all the users. Okay, go to the next. He wants to add this email service to use SendGrid and then configure some options and then that. I don't think I need that anymore because I'm using configure container now, but we'll keep that. So that looks good. Next, resolve. Commit that merge. Alright, this is going to break stuff. Okay, so let's see what breaks. I think I need to edit my branch protection to get rid of that, because I don't think that's going to run. Alright, so branch protection is a thing you have on your GitHub repos. It's under here, branch protection rules. Edit this rule, and it says, hey, go look for this, our Dallas Dev Better Web status thing, which is where that Azure DevOps thing was coming from. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I'll say, you need to at least build. I'm going to say require that. Save. Okay, so that's good. Let's go back out here. Let's see what I broke with this, if we know yet. Show me the details. It's getting ready to build things. All right. Well, not until let's go look at your gist. You want to know how would we pass in a key to this thing? So add some service, config.use key. That seems fine. Or require the key. If the key is always required, then this seems okay. The problem is if you use this one and then later on you need additional configuration, then it's harder to do this, right? It'll be a breaking change to add this. Whereas if you start with this one and later on you add more things, you can always add more properties onto config. It won't break anybody that exists. Or you do this fluent one with the use key. Of the three, given what you have so far, I probably prefer this one. But that's just me. So anyone else on the chat? You got a preference? Do you like hard code the argument, which is simple? Do you like the builder, or do you like Fluent, where you tack on another .use this, .use that? Tell Wanadza what you think, if you're actually still watching. let's come back here. Did that ever get updated? Still 2019. I never tested it locally either. So, alright, that actually ran. Wow. I thought it would break something. Anything works, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's just a question of what's going to work later, right? The simple one is fine if you're okay with it. You might break people if you have to add some more stuff. Whereas the config one is a little more complicated up front, but it gives you flexibility later that you can add more things and not break any of your existing users. Just depends on if you expect users to be able to keep using your thing when you update it, or if they should have to, make changes whenever you update something. Alright, so let me see. I thought this would work. I never actually saw it work locally though, so let's, pretty sure the year is 2020. Pretty sure the year is 2020 on Azure. If I run this, and I get down here, it is 2020. That worked. Alright. Follow people on Twitter. That's cool. That's relatively new. Did that make it out here? No. Okay. So when it says it's deploying, I don't think it's really deploying. I think it's actually failing. But we did build okay. That means we ran and all our tests passed. So let's go ahead and publish this. What the heck? Let's merge this thing. If I gotta fix stuff, I'll fix stuff. So come in here. Got a green check. Everything looks happy. Squash and merge. Go for it. Delete that branch. And now we're back out on master. Let's come into mine. Let's go here. Let's pull. Okay. Let's run. Log out. Unique builder might look better because you can pass it to the specific service. Probably other service might need a different key. That's true. Alright, so if I register, then it should use my SendGrid key at this point, right? If I register with some new email like that, and whatever that password was. I don't know what that password was. See if I managed to type those right. Oh, right. Didn't want to change that. Register. Email verification required. An email has been sent. Has it though? Has it really? Let's see. Executing page. Email required. Anything here talking about actually sending the email? Not that I see. Alright, so it's good that that part worked. Let's see. I really don't think I got an email. Sure. Let's sign into this. Alright, so here's my SendGrid, and it says recent activity 0, so that's a good hint that it didn't actually send an email, which it might only do in production anyway. So let's review Joe's code and see what the heck we're doing here. So in web, in areas, identity, pages, account, when you register, and you do a post to register, if we successfully create your user, then we're going to generate an email confirmation thing with a callback URL to this page, which again I think is probably wrong. And we're going to say email service.send. Alright, so maybe we just debug into this. And then we do a local redirect to this immediately. Okay. So we don't even sign you in. And then we're here. Alright. So when we do this, we say go to implementation. Here, this says give me my auth message sender options. Here's my SendGrid client, which is red. Why are you red? You build just fine, don't you? Yeah? Still red. SendGrid. Updates. SendGrid. Let's go ahead and update it. Alright, and might as well update autofact too while we're at it. And we should probably hop on another branch. New branch. Troubleshooting emails. Okay, so now SendGrid is happy looking. Let's get rid of some extra namespaces. And package downgrade. Yeah, I need to put in one of those props files so everything shares this. Is there a way to generate that in Visual Studio? Could I be like, hey, add a props file? No. But I did upgrade your web. What's this one? SendGrid 912.6. Let's go to web 912.0. Let's fix that. While we're at it, we did autofac 511. Web, it's 510, I think. There it is, 500. Alright, see if that helps. Still, autofac, that doesn't make any sense. From web to web. What else are using it here? Nope. Well, let's just manage them from solution. Consolidate. Nothing to consolidate. These all look fine. Huh. Why are we getting an error then? Build, clean. Rid of the old junk. Let's pull down new junk. Now it's fine. Alright. Now, SendGrid email service is looking for options, auth message sender options, which should be in app settings and not auth message sender options. All we really want is the API key. Don't we need the... Thought we needed the username too. Maybe I just need the API key. Alright. So where's that come from? Here it is, SendGrid key. So auth message sender options, SendGrid key. That is not something I want to put into here though. When we run this, it's already running. No, it's not. Alright. Why aren't you running? So when we run this, it should be running in development mode. There it is. Alright, so it is hosting in development mode. So if I do add a development set of keys, it should work. So let's do that for now. Development. Okay. And in here, we'll keep all the same stuff, but we'll add another block. And that will be that. And within that, we'll have API key, except it's actually SendGrid key. Alright, so close that down. Okay. And let's see, where's my database? Let's go view that. SQL Server, Object Explorer. We're talking to local DB, MS SQL local DB. It's this one. DevEtterWeb.app. That's this one. Got some tables with ASP.NET users. No, I don't want to design the table. I want to see the table. I want to delete my user I just added. So, view the data. Alright, some test stuff, and then this guy we're going to delete. Yes. Alright, so now, when I run this thing, we'll run against that. Alright, now I can register. I can do Steve Dallas, do that, and register, and it should blow up, right? It should tell me, hey, that's an invalid key, or something. Shouldn't it? Doesn't do anything. If I refresh this, there, I'm back in there. Let's delete that again. And let's go find out why. Why are we not getting into this? So, breakpoint that. Breakpoint that. Turn execute. Alright, yeah. Should break if that's not right. Meanwhile, in here, we should be there. Alright, let's debug this thing. Okay, register. It's already hitting the service. That's interesting. Go. Alright. There. Register. Should hit it again. Route matches that, okay. So continue. Okay. Steppy. Step. Created. Generate the email. What does that mean? Okay, good. There's callback URL. Alright. I'm curious what that callback URL is. Callback URL. Here. Identity account. Confirm email. That sounds right. Okay. Email service. Step into. Okay. Key is null. Alright. Maybe that's the problem. Step into client. I don't know what that URL path is supposed to be, but having it be null seems wrong. Alright, step. And you're just happily going to do this with no error. Alright. Interesting. Alright, why was that key null? I would have thought it would read the key correctly. Okay, so let's go. Did I miss a step with doing the options? Password hash looks really similar to mine. Could be. That wasn't any clear, was it? I didn't look at it very closely. You did it. Password hash. Well, it is at least a hash. Interesting, these two are the same. I would have thought they'd be salted, so they'd be different. Maybe that's not done by default. Alright, so we got another user here. Let's delete that. Let's figure out why we're not reading our config. So we have auth message, sender options, SendGrid key. You use the .joe's online here. It says hey, use the .NET user secret manager thing. That shouldn't matter. I should be able to get it from here. Right, I should read it. So in startup, here's config. I should be able to go into configuration and where do we add options? Did you have to add options somewhere to make that work? You didn't have to add that anywhere, huh? It's not in your pull request. So I thought that was a thing. I've gotten away from using the options stuff. For add options to configuration. Let's go look at the docs on this. Make a class that has your options. Alright, we don't have that. And then configure your options. Okay, we don't have that. And then you can pass in options crap. Okay. Yeah, we didn't do that. What if I just want to add configuration? Section whatever, key whatever, that's what we're doing. Sources, providers, pass in configuration. Or I could pass in a configuration section as an configuration. Those are all the ways to get configuration in there. Yeah. How do I read it though? File, key per file, memory, get value, get children, exists, get section, config section, bind it to a class, see the options pattern, which we just looked at, bind to an object graph. Okay. What are you actually asking for in here? In here, we ask it straight up for, that's the execute, we ask it for an options of t, and this is your t. Go to definition of this t. We do have that, alright. So, think we're missing the call that we needed here in startup to do that. I think I need that. So in here in startup, service. Alright, so it is in services. Configure that. Configure that. And this becomes auth message sender options. Right? So let's do that. And F5 again. See where we get. Alright, we want to try and register. And that's hitting our breakpoint. Alright. And those are null. Let's step over that. SendGrid key, SendGrid user, those are both null. You know why? Because that's not what I named these. No, it is what I named those. Alright, dang it. Alright, auth message sender auth. That ought to just work. It's in development. Let's verify. Startup. It uses default configuration. It's passed in here. Program doesn't mess with it. Does some junk with setting things up. That should all be fine. Thanks for the follow, Amber Badawi. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Alright. This is ASP.NET Core 101 stuff. Why can't I see that options thing as a config option, right? This is, I've got something called my options. Call it my options here, and what's the actual config look like? You're not going to show me because that would be too easy. So figure you have iOptions monitor and iOptions snapshot. We're not using either of those. We're using iOptions. Crows 4K, how's it going? Simon Jerry's off for dinner. Check it on the stream. Alright. Joe used some tutorial from ASP.NET Core 2.1. Of course you did. Is there an update for 3.1? Because that's what we want. Let's try that. Alright. Configure an email provider with that stuff. Use the secret key thing. Yeah, alright. Here's my JSON right there. Interestingly, it does not have a name with it. Okay. Install SendGrid. Great. Use all this code. Yep. So we got Joe's name there. Configure that. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. And then things should start to work. Right? Data protection token for interruption. Alright. This says here, this is only set by secret manager. It's actually set here in the constructor when you're using iOptions of T, just like he did. I don't necessarily have faith that this thing got updated for 3.1, even though they added the 3.1 in the dropdown. I know how docs work, so it's possible this thing's wrong. And they're using user secrets, and I'm not, so that's a change. That's the JSON, that's secrets.json. What what is the key? Where's this key at for auth message sender options? So that name has to be somewhere. Like here, he just adds those two things. He doesn't even have that as its own thing. It's almost like those should be root level values. So if that's true, I should just get rid of this and just be like, yo, here's my two settings. Try that. Which is annoying if that works, but you know, let's try it. Register, go hit my breakpoint, step over it, check the value. Hey, look at that. They have values. Alright, so interesting. So we've got that working. Now, how would I get it to work the way I want it to work? I'd kind of like those to be in a sub thing. ESP.NET for options pattern sub element JSON. Is that what I want to say? Or get JSON arrays. Like this. Yeah, I want that, right? So do I have to just tell it .get section? Is that the thing? Configure. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'd have to say get section whatever. And bind? I thought that changed. My options of my settings. Blah blah blah. Models that won't bind. So yeah, this is like really old stuff. But I do think that get section is what I need. This is really old too. I've used that same picture. Get section. I think that's what I need. I think I need configure and then get section. That's what I want. So if I come back to this, we go back to this, we go to that, and we go to startup, and we say, hey, configure that to be configuration dot get section that. Now we're going to be happy. Now we can go back to my database and we can see SendGrid user. I don't think we're even using that. That's that. Use the secret queue existing environment variables. Okay. We close that. Go here. We'll refresh this. And we'll delete my. I'm not there. All right, fine. Oh, that's because I actually went through that far. All right. So F5 into this. One more time. We'll hit register. We'll go to our breakpoint, and we'll verify. There, that works. So good. We can put it in a section. All right, now stop this. Let's get the actual key. From no. Here. All right. Settings. API keys. Well, let me copy that. Delete. Edit. Let's throw this over here. Let's edit it. I can change access to it. Update. For security reasons, we do not allow the key value to be displayed. I don't care. I just want to copy it. So, weird thing. They don't let you see it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, let's create another one. API key. Give it a name. It's fine. Create this new key. Copy it. Come back over here. Go throw it into my development. Save that and Control F5. Alright, now let's try and do this one more time. Hit this. Register. Email verification, blah blah blah. Same thing I've been getting. And dashboard still says no requests happened. So I don't know. I'd like it better if this thing blew up when it didn't work. I'm trying to make it send stuff. Got that working. Got that. Yeah, okay, so we're working through this. We got those work. Got that. Got that key. It's working. Alright. We're using SendGrid. Create a SendGrid client. And we say send it. And it ought to send it to my account. And I can confirm that I'm not getting the email. And this part works, but we definitely get here, and it tries to send it, and it has the information it needs. SendGrid string host equals null. We didn't have to give it a host. The existing one didn't. So Joe, did you ever get this working like with your own SendGrid key or anything? First time I ran it there was a delay. Maybe that's a thing with new API keys. A couple of minutes. Alright, maybe that's a thing. But it doesn't even log any requests. Let's try debugging it. So let's go back to data. Let's nuke my account one more time. Delete. Yes. You did get email sending. Alright. Alright, let's see if we believe you. Alright, we don't need to peek at the value anymore. I've got the key now. Key is in there. I'm not gonna show it to you guys. I do want to see if that sends. So let's F5. Alright, we're gonna register with same old. Boom. Create the user. Okay. Get ready to send this message. Please confirm your email from something. Reply to nothing. Subject, confirm your email. Who's this to? Where's the to on this? Subject, add to email. Alright, so somewhere there's a to on this. It's not a to field, but okay. And it's going to be a localhost URL, but that's okay. It should totally work. So do it. Okay. It'd be nice. Oh, you know what? You're not awaiting this. I wonder if that's the problem. You said it worked for you. But this async thing, we could be just plowing right past and killing our request before it ever has a chance to send. So possibly me debugging through it will be better. Maybe this will actually send the email. But this needs to have an await, I think. Alright, email required. Can you track the result of an async call? Well, yeah, if you await on it. So let's get rid of this. Let's stop this. Close that. Alright, so this needs to be an async task. And this needs to be return await that. I think. It really doesn't need the return. Right? Just needs that. And then this theoretically ought to also be an awaitable thing. Why does it have two of these? I don't understand. I feel like this thing has no purpose. I guess it's because it doesn't need the API key, but this one could probably be private. So only one of these is going to be email subject message is all we want. Email subject, that's that one. This can be private. Yeah, and this is an async task. You can just await on that. We probably don't need two awaits. We could probably just have this one actually return a task and then do that, but this is better, I think. What's the original return result supposed to be for the caller? What's the original return result? I don't know. What caller? I'm not sure which caller you're talking about. Task of response. So when I await this, if I return this, it's going to give me a response. This can be a task of response. A response is a SendGrid response, and this can say var response equal await that, and then I could sit here and check and see what that response is. Right? So we could breakpoint here, and we should know what that response might be. I think. So let's do that. Let's go back here, let's refresh this, delete this. Now at least it should tell me if something's wrong. You copy pasted from the internet and it was wrong? Well, we might need to do a pull request on that doc, honestly. Because if they don't have async in there and it's causing these issues, that's not good. Registrate. Communicate. There we go. Alright, step over. And what's our response say? SendGrid said unauthorized. What? It's nice of you to tell me now. I suppose I could have gotten that from Fiddler. Status code is unauthorized. Why am I unauthorized? Gave you a key. Options. Let me go look at my options there. I've got a SendGrid key. I got a SendGrid user. I think I'm good. Your request should at least be showing me unauthorized requests, right? Just tell me that I'm sending you things that aren't working. Get nothing. Activity. You've had no requests. You didn't even tell me about the unauthorized requests. Alright, let's see. Okay. Username is correct. I'm sure I got the key correct. SendGrid key, SendGrid user. Everything looks right to me. have authorization to make this request. Alright. Cores maybe? Does SendGrid have cores protecting them from the caller? How would SendGrid work as a service if they did that? They wouldn't be able to ever send any email from anybody. That can't be right. It's working to improve your experience. Well, send email when I send you requests. That's what I want. Do that. Go away. Also, when I'm sending you invalid requests, tell me you're getting something. Email API. No, this is what I want, man. IP addresses I don't care about. Sender. I'm just trying to use localhost. Alright. People who wanted to send username and key, they're supposed to be whitelisted. What does that mean? So, Joe, you got this working on localhost, you're saying? Yeah, I don't have any of this DNS stuff set up. We didn't do that yet. Who did you email to? Yourself? With what, like a Gmail account? Gmail, okay. Definitely confirm I did not get any emails. And we're definitely seeing SendGrid now say that it's not valid. Still thinks no emails have been sent from the dashboard. API keys, this is what I just set up. That's not the key, that's just the keys identifier. This is the key, which it won't show me, but I've already got. Edit or delete it. So I don't need. I can create another key, but I don't see how that'll help me. This is supposed to work. We at least get a response now that we can look at and see. We can add some if logic here. If response dot status code. Greater than, what is it? Is that just an HTTP status code? Status code dot, it's going to be OK. I don't know if it's OK, it's the standard. Then I would log it, but I don't have a logger. I'll do something about that here. As a matter of fact, right now I'm going to throw a new exception. Could not send email. Dot body dot, really? There's no string. Read string async. Seems unnecessary, but alright. Let's try that out. So now I can control F5, run the thing, register, do that, and have it blow up. The provider is invalid, revoked. Alright. Could not send email. Provided authorization grant. Let's try creating another key. What the heck? Create an API key. Key name. Another key. Their UI is horrible. Here, check this out. Does this mean I can or I can't send email? What the hell does this mean? There, now it's blue. I just want to be able to send email. That's all I want to be able to do. I don't care about any of this other stuff. So if it's blue, that means you can do it? No, that says no access, read access, full access. Why don't you be over here? Be full access. And that's not working. Well, full access. Do all the things, right? I mean, I understand the slider if it worked. Right? Like, this looks like this is what it's giving you. Custom access, looks like that's there, right? So this should be good, right? I mean, it's gray, so it seems like it's disabled, but the dot is over here, which means it should be full. So let's create that key secretly over here. Select level of access. I did. Now it says this. Please select the level of access. What else can I select? Oh, let's do this one. Create. Bam. Copy the key. Done. Got the key. Okay. Go over here. Go to my secret location to put it in the settings. Paste it in. Save it. Run it. Alright, here we are again. Register. Boom. Could not send the email. Why? That's a different error though, isn't it? Throw a new exception, could not... Oh, maybe it did send the email, but my if check was stupid. That could be. Because I know I didn't do a very good job with that if check. Let's come back here. Because I don't know what it's going to be, right? I don't know if it's going to be an okay or what. Could not send the email, colon. Nothing was there. So it makes me think it actually did work this time. And ooh, look at that. I got an email for Steve +2. Alright, cool. Alright, I don't know what I screwed up, if anything, but somehow now it's working. Alright, so now I just need to go out to Azure and get that same setting in its configuration. So portal.azure.com, log in, let's go find DevBetter 2 web app right there. Let's go to its configuration right there. Let's go find settings, auth message sender options there. So that. Let's edit the SendGrid key and paste in the one we know just worked. Auth message sender options. Alright. I think that underscore thingy is going to work. Alright, now let's commit this stuff here. Minus the... Oh good, it's not there. So it's already not moving that development settings, so that's good. Updated email sending. There we go. Push that out. Let's go back over here. We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that. We could need that. Still think nothing. You are so useless. Come on, you actually sent me an email. Why do you think you didn't send me an email? I mean, maybe it doesn't help that you're only showing me in the past and not today. Show me today. Search for emails. I really just want to know if you sent any emails. Wow. Alright, that's frustrating. I want to go back to GitHub. Back here, I'm going to create a pull request. Troubleshooting the emails. Create the pull request. Let's check who's chatting. FYI, any existing users can't log in until they confirm their email. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to do on the website right now anyway, so I'm okay with that. All the checks passed. Where's my build check? That was supposed to still be there. Branches. Did I break this? This build. You're supposed to still be a thing. Require branches, yeah. Require status checks, yeah. Build. I thought that was the status check that needed to be there. Right. Actions. Workflows. .NET Core. I guess it did it already? 2 minutes ago? Alright, you're fast. We did a job. Okay. I guess it ran. It should tell me it ran. It's got a little check mark next to it. Show. Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm just an idiot. Confirm. Okie dokie. Delete. Now, something is supposed to kick off the publish. Publish. There, it's triggered. Okay. Do your thing. So while that's doing that, we can go look at the portal. Here. Okay. Now how can I tell when this thing was last deployed? still 2019, so it's not getting deployed. So the question is, this publish is actually just creating the things locally. This login is supposed to log into that. And there's a service principal with some GUID. This default is, yeah, so this is supposed to work. Gets into the right tenant or whatever. 6F7 should be something or other in here, right? Subscriptions 2589, 2589, that matches. I don't see subscription number there. I don't see where this apps ID is, but theoretically it should be in there. Run web apps deploy. App name is DevBetter2. Slot name is production. Alright. Successfully deployed. So where is this going? Deploy logs can be viewed here. Okay, let's go look at that. Deployment history can be viewed there. Alright. Generating deployment. Log with time. Running deployment command. Running post deployment to command. Triggering a recycle. Deployment was successful. Alright. And then this, history. On Kudu also. Progress, received, last received, dev better, blah blah blah. Deployments. Okay, so this, I don't know. I guess says it worked. So this is the thing that GitHub is using as its credential to do stuff. So that's working. When it logs in, it gets the publishing profile. But it's still not showing the right thing. Let's see if we can register and see if it sends us an email. So register. Nope. Alright, so that did not work. So we're going to publish it by hand. I don't know why GitHub's publish is telling me it worked fine, but it's not publishing. Everything indicates success, but it doesn't seem to be out there. Did I like forget some step where I'm actually hosting it somewhere else and I'm not using this? That jump looks like me working on the site. Let's go here. Oh, that's interesting. That is up to date. Alright. So why it is deployed on here? This is not. It must be a caching issue. Interesting. Or something. Alright, so let's try and get, let's see, kill this. Restart the web app, clear the browser cache, Control F5. Tell us about the fire you worked on. Sounds like an interesting thing. Well, I have a client that wants to get training on fire and REST and API design. And I'm familiar with API design and REST, but not so familiar with fire. I've read the spec, but I haven't done anything with it for real. So I'm trying to find someone that has some real experience that I could work with on it. And so far I'm not having much luck. Okay, so we're out of there. This stuff all works. So the only question seems to be, why the heck is this not the same as devbetter.com? So I thought they were pointing to one another. I'm pretty sure that's on Cloudflare. Let's verify that. There's devbetter. Alright. So what would make it so... Is there like a global purge cache? Let's try that. Purge all the things. Do it. Standard caching, blah blah blah. Alright. So now if we go back to devbetter... Nope. Still old, whatever it is. I'm so confused. This and this should be the same. Let's check our DNS. So this is proxy. Is there a CDN attached? You have to flush that. That's just now it's working when we deployed the first one. It's been working, it's been deploying. It's just the production.com site is not the same as this other one. So that's the confusing part. Like devbetter.com is not the same as devbetter2 Azure Website's not. I'm guessing if I come in here and I register and I give it another email, it's going to give me the behavior we expect, probably, which is going to be tell me to check my email. System can't find the file. That's not good. Yeah, you shouldn't be trying to talk to SQL Express. That's a weird error. I mean, the connection string is configured the same as it always was. This one works. And if I log in with a real login, and I view the videos, and I see the videos, right, everything works fine from this. So the question is, why is this and this different? I don't have deployment slots running, I don't think. I think I only have one slot. Yeah, there's only one slot, so I don't understand why. If we stop this thing, yes. Boom, we're stopped. Refresh. No, let's go to the home page. Boom, it stopped. How about this one? Hey, it works fine. So where the heck is this thing hosted? Because I'm 99% certain I was hosting it on Azure. But that's just weird. Alright, I gotta sort that out. we've got everything working. We got it all working localhost. We got GitHub Actions working. I gotta call it a day. I'll figure out why these two things aren't joined at the hip like they should be. And just track down where devbuilder.com is going through Cloudflare to something. Can't just be cached. That's too crazy. But hopefully I'll be able to make some time and stream again next week. Thank you for sticking it out with me. I will see you later. Right now, let's go see who's around that we can send a raid to and help somebody out. So we'll go over here to my creator dashboard, raid. Usually Clarkio is on. Doesn't look like he's on. How about RhymeU8354? We'll send this guy some stuff. See you guys. Bye.